All right, what we're working on today is reflections. We need to be able to do reflections, how to find the coordinates, and be able to determine when things are reflected and how they're reflected. So the line of reflection is the kind of the line of symmetry. And so if I have a point here, it's reflected on this side. And then let's say I have a triangle here. It's reflected on the other side. I could fold it and it would lie on top of it. This one on the right is probably a little bigger, but it's the same thing. And so reflection is when it goes over something. So let's say if I have it this way. Let's move this actually. Oops. So let's say we have a line of reflection this way. If a point's this far, then it reflects down here. I'd be able to fold it over. If I have a T here, it's reflected upside down because it's a reflection. It's like looking in water. A line of symmetry, the best way to think about a line of symmetry is a heart. A heart has a line of symmetry where it's the same on both sides. If you could draw it, there we go. And so that's a line of symmetry for a heart. Okay, all right, so there's some rules for reflecting. If you reflect over the x-axis, let's see what happens. So I'm going to graph a couple points. So I'm going to graph A is at 1, 3. B is at -2, -1. Okay, so let's see what happens. Remember, the x-axis is the horizontal axis, so I'm going to highlight this. That's what I'm reflecting over. And point A is 1, 2, 3 away. So that means I have to go 1, 2, 3 down. And that's A prime. And this was A. Whenever we find a reflection, remember that it's a new image. It's the image, and so you have to have the prime. So A prime went to 1, -3. And then from here, from point B, I'm 1 away. So I go 1 up, and that's B prime. And so B prime is at -2, +1. And if you notice what happened, the 1 stayed the same, but the 3 became a -3. And over here, the -1 became a +1. So the rule for when you reflect over the x-axis is you change the y. So whenever you reflect over the x-axis, you change the y. All right, let's see what happens when we reflect over the y-axis. Remember, my y-axis is this vertical one. Oops, that's a horrible line. Let's try this way. Okay, and so again, let's look at some points. Let's do a 1, 3 again. And B -2, let's do -3 this time. -2, -3. Okay, well, when I reflect over the y, now I'm going to count how far away I am from this y line, which is just 1. So I'm going to go 1 the other way. So A prime is at -1, 3. All right, let's try the B. B is 1, 2 away, so I go 1, 2. And so B prime is at 2, -3. So hopefully you can see what happened here is that my x changed from a positive to a negative and from a negative to a positive. So the rule for reflecting over the y-axis is that it is a change in x. Okay, all right, so reflection of the line y equals x. I'm going to have to draw it first with a color, and then I will go back and highlight it. Y equals x is when it passes through the origin, and it has this line. It's the up 1 over 1 when m is 1. Sorry, it's kind of crooked, so it's hard to draw this. Okay, so let's do these same points. Let's do A is 1, 3. Remember to write the A this time. And B is -2, -1. All right, so now when I do the reflection this time, the first 2 times I went up and down or left and right, but if you notice, I formed a right angle on both of them. My reflections were perpendicular, and that's what has to happen here. I have to go the other way. So A is 1 diagonal away, and so it's 1 diagonal away here. B is half a diagonal away, so it's half a diagonal away here. Let's put another point way out here so you can see. C is at -4, 5. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half. So there's the half. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And so now you can see where they go, and they're all perpendicular. So instead of going up 1 to the right, you're going to go down and to the right. Okay. So A prime was at 3, 1. So if you notice, it just switched the order here. Let's see if that works again. B prime was at -1, -2. Yeah, it worked. It just switched the order. So then C prime should be at 5, -4. And yeah, it's at 5, -4. So the rule for when you reflect over y equals x is use flip x and y. Change the order. Okay, so if you reflect over the x, you change the y. Reflect over the y, change the x. And reflect over the line y equals x, you flip them. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we can find these images. So these are the pre-images, and I need to find my new image. So if I reflect over the x, I'm supposed to change the y. So remember, this is x, this is y, x, y. So I'm going to change the y, and so I'm going to have -2, -5, and 3, -4. Why don't you take the time now to pause the video and do the problems yourself, and you should be able to do 2 through 6, and then come back and check your work. Okay, so for number 2, you should have recognized since it was the y-axis. Since it was the y-axis, you changed the x, so it became a +2 and a -3. For number 3, the line y equals x, you flip the order. For number 4, if I flip over the line y equals x, I get -3, 4, because I switched the order, and -1, -2. Now, when you flip them, make sure you don't change any signs. All you do is you switch. Excuse the loud dogs. They're making a loud. And then if you reflect over the x, you change the y. So it becomes 4, +3, -2, +1. And if you reflect over the y, we change the x, a -4, -3, and 2, -1. Okay, so these are the main rules we're going to have, but sometimes they're going to be a little different, and we'll get to those in a second. Okay, so let's look at 1, 2, and 3. The first thing I need to do is I need to graph the points. So A is at 3, 4. B is at 0, 4. And C is at -2, 2. And so since it says it's a triangle, I'm going to connect them to make it look like a triangle. And now I want us to reflect. Now, reflecting over the y-axis. Reflecting over the y-axis is this axis right here. And so sometimes you have to draw them in addition to actually writing what they are. And so A prime is 1, 2, 3 away. And so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 away. And if you notice, I'm getting rid of that so that I can see what it is. So A prime is at -3, +4. B prime is the same place. Sometimes you're going to have things that are on the same thing because it's on the axis. And then C is 2 away, so I go 2 away. And so now here is my triangle. So B prime stayed at the same spot, and C prime became +2, 2. Okay, so why don't you try number 2 and 3 on your own, and then press play when you think you have it. Okay, so reflected over the x-axis, C is 2 away, B is 4 away, and A is 4 away also. And so there is your triangle. So A prime is at 3, -4. B prime is at 0, -4. And C prime is at -2, -2. All right, so remember the diagonal one, I go halfway. So A prime is halfway. B is 1, 2. So 1, 2. And C is 1, 2. So 1, 2. And so there's a reflection. If I color it in, it might make it easier to see. So A prime is at 4, 3. Remember, you just switch them. B prime is at 4, 0. And C prime is at 2, -2. Okay, so let's look at examples that aren't perfect, that don't follow those rules. So when I reflect over the line x equals 2 right here, and that's this vertical line. Let me see if I can draw a straight vertical line. It's the vertical line that goes through 2. I'm having a hard time drawing straight lines today. I'm just going to do this. I can do that easier. Okay, so now I graph my points same way as I did before. So A is at 3, 4. B is at 4. And C is -2, 2. And to reflect, I see how far away they are from this red line. So I can't use my rules because it's a different line. But A prime now is here. So A prime is at 1, 4. B prime is 2 away, so B prime is here. So that's 4, 4. And then C prime is 1, 2, 3, 4 away. So 1, 2, 3, 4 away. So that's at 6, 2. And so that's what you do for reflection over the line x equals 2. Over the line y equals -1, y equals -1 here. And so we go a straight line to the left and a straight line to the right, backwards, left and right. And then we're just going to reflect. And so again, 3, 4 is A, B, and then C. And now I have to see how far away they are from that horizontal line. They're a little farther away. Oh. And so, mouse, there it is. So A is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's A prime. So A prime is at 3, -8. B prime is the same one, but it's over on the y-axis. So B prime is at 0, -8. And then C prime is 1, 2, 3 away. 1, 2, 3. So there's C prime, which is at -2, -4. And so if I connect, there's my reflection. All right, the last one, reflection over the line x equals -2. -2 is right here all the time for x, so it's a vertical line. And then if I graph my points, change colors. A again is at 3, 4.